Well, we've been asking for government documents and interviews with people connected to this project for days, weeks, months. Tonight, we can tell you that some government officials admit they don't know where the project stands. A project that has been touted by many as a game changer for the people of the North Country. Inside the Hungry Bear Diner on the outskirts of Plattsburgh, the talk is tuned into Laurentian and the long wait that's settled in across the North Country.
It's pessimistic, but that's just the way it looks, because the local people keep saying we're going to have this, we're going to have that, and then it doesn't happen. So you lose your hope.
The thing is, they need to either tell us yes or no, instead of keeping people hanging. I think that's pretty unfair.
The Laurentian project launched with great fanfare 6 years ago. Back then, they said the plant would be up and running in 2008, servicing and maintaining jumbo jets and employing 900 people. But that didn't happen. And then last March...
It is official. We've got money changing hands and we've got contracts signed.
But just 2 months after that hubbub, another delay related to financing. Now, the only hint of the state-of-the-art airplane facility is this street sign. So how much time do you think you guys have spent on it?
Oh, goodness. I can't even quantify that.
Town Supervisor Bernie Bassett says at first there was a lot to do in preparation, researching the potential impacts of the $175 million company on roads, water, and sewage. But now, his offices are at a standstill.
Other than events like this where we're trying to respond, what do you know and when do you think it's coming, it's not an active project.
And it's not just Laurentian that people are waiting for. A local economist predicts that company could pump $504 million into the local economy here. Not only that, but it would bring all those jobs with it and create an additional 1,200 here in the community. Meanwhile, the trade school CV Tech has changed their curriculum. There are 45 students studying to work at Laurentian right now.
How long is that going to go on without the jobs here?
Bassett admits he is still a cheerleader for the project, even having a framed newspaper article in the town offices. Even still, he's also quick to admit his contact with Laurentian leaders has been limited.
The very last time I spoke with him was probably last week.
And what'd he say?
Nothing that discouraged me. Unfortunately, I didn't have any great revelations.
And insists there's no way he could know anything else.
I'm informed to do what? Try to push it to happen?
To know what's going on.
It's a works in progress project. I can't know any more than that. There are a number of projects like that.
Bassett's sentiments are echoed by Rodney Brown, the head of the planning department for Clinton County. He would not agree to an on-camera interview because he thinks an interview would be, quote, negative. And he added the average person on the streets thinks we're all liars. So far, Clinton County has received $287,000 for Laurentian as part of a grant through the Empire State Development Fund. And according to documentation obtained by News Channel 5 from the county, they've spent close to $420,000 paying an engineering firm connected to Laurentian. When we asked about the last time he talked with company officials, Brown told us it was last month. He admits he called Laurentian after News Channel 5 submitted a Freedom of Information request to the county. Our request centered on the project's financial documents and the most recent delay. When we pressed him about that information, he said, quote, "It's a lot cleaner if we don't have the document at all. The reality is, we don't need to know." When we asked if he thought the $175 million project will ever be a reality, he said, quote, "I have no idea whether or not they're going to come here." Back at the diner, folks say that's not good enough.
I think they're being upfront and honest, but it's like there's a mystery there. We don't know about this financial thing, and I don't understand that. I haven't seen a good accounting of the reason why it hasn't come together yet.
It's like children. You shouldn't give them false hope. You tell them what's real, and instead of leading them along.
So what did Laurentian have to say about this?
Well, we reached out to Laurentian officials for comment on the story, of course, and they said they have no updates, no expected start date, and nothing more to say to News Channel 5. Well, George, after officials from both Clinton County and the town of Plattsburgh told News Channel 5 they know next to nothing about Verdant Capital or what's behind Laurentian's financial problems, we decided to see what we could find. And it didn't take long for us to come across several court cases detailing Verdant Capital Group's CEO's history of financial issues. Those in the community have been waiting for Laurentian Aerospace for 6 years, and skepticism continues to grow at the Hungry Bear Diner.
I mean, if they were going to do it, they would have done it by now, or at least made a firm commitment.
In the works since 2006, Laurentian is a $175 million state-of-the-art jumbo jet maintenance facility, expected to bring 900 jobs to the North Country. And, according to a local expert, Laurentian would help pump $504 million into the economy. But the project has been plagued by a series of false starts.
They're really not firm in their commitment, and that's kind of scary, and it's not fair. Basically, it's totally unfair.
The latest one came in March of 2011. Laurentian officials announced they had the financial backing to move forward with the project and were planning to break ground within weeks.
It is official. You know, we've got money changing hands and we've got contracts signed.
By mid-May, Laurentian officials revealed their financing was not completely secure, and they were working with their financier, Verdant Capital Group, to line up their funding.
I mean, if they were going to do something like that, wouldn't you have your finances together before you made the commitment to say that you're going to be here?
As of earlier this year, local officials as well as Laurentian's CFO said they weren't sure when the venture would finally break ground. Company officials point to financing problems. Which brings us to Verdant Capital and this man, Eric Jurgensen, the CEO of Verdant. He's also the president of another company, Utah-based Contour Composites. It didn't take us long to get our first hint of Jurgensen's financial problems. A quick Google search of his name first tipped us off. After News Channel 5 started digging deeper, we came up with a pile of court documents detailing Jurgensen's history of money trouble, both on a personal level and with Contour Composites. According to those court records, Jurgensen has had at least 2 tax liens set against him by the state of Utah. Those were set aside in court, and the Utah Tax Commission wouldn't comment on his case. Then, in 2006, Contour Composites was sued after Zion's bank said the company never repaid a multi-million-dollar loan. A year later, Contour was ordered to pay the bank $5.4 million. Zion's has requested payment, and that case is still pending. And later, in 2008, both Jurgensen and Contour Composites were sued for legal fees. That suit was dismissed, but in a separate lawsuit, the pair was sued again, this time ordered to pay $98,800. The plaintiff in that case asked for help from the courts to get their payment from Jurgensen. When News Channel 5 asked Plattsburgh Town Supervisor Bernie Bassett if he knew anything about Verdant, this is what he had to say.
I don't know anything about them. I met them at the March meeting last year for the first time. I was under the impression they were committed and a viable support for the project. I don't know anything any different.
When we pushed him on it and asked if it was his responsibility to be informed on the subject, he said,
Yeah, why would you say that?
Because you represent the town of Plattsburgh, and this has been touted as one of the biggest projects that, this area has seen in I don't know how long. And it's a big deal, so I would think that the town supervisor would be informed on it.
Informed to do what? Try to push it to happen?
To know what's going on.
It's a works in progress project. I can't know any more than that. There are a number of projects like that.
Clinton County Planning Director Rodney Brown acknowledges that Bassett is in the dark and says the same goes for him. Neither Brown nor Laurentian would explain why the county doesn't know more about the project. Brown wouldn't agree to an on-camera interview, but told us over the phone he believes that Laurentian is sensitive about information it sends to the county becoming public, particularly in light of a Freedom of Information law request submitted by News Channel 5. And Brown says he can't blame Laurentian officials for feeling that way. When we asked Laurentian officials about it, the company's chief financial officer said, quote, "If Rodney said that, then I guess that's true." Brown said, quote, "We don't need to know minute by minute, even month by month, what progress is being made." And while Brown may not think he needs to know, other people do.
I think that the burden is on Laurentian to basically be quiet until they know they have it. To come here and tell us, well, we have 2/3 of our financing. Yeah, what does that mean?
Well, Steph, you might remember in February we told you about several lawsuits that had been filed against Verdant Capital Group CEO Eric Jurgensen. Well, we learned about another lawsuit filed against Jurgensen and two other companies, Verdant Technology Solution, where he's manager, and Contour Composites, where he's president. This time in Houston, Texas, involving nearly $2 billion worth of rubies. We spent the past few months looking into the case, and the details are unusual. Some might say unbelievable. And once again, the lawsuit raises questions about Jurgensen's financial dealings and the future of the Laurentian project.
I can see why the town officials would want to hold on to it, hold on to that optimism, that hope that it's going to happen. But there's so many warning signs that it would make me nervous. If I were an investor, I would be hesitant about even giving money at this point.
Dr. Angela Gordon is a business professor at the College of St. Rose, and she says, in light of the lawsuit and the financing problems with the project's financier, Verdant Capital Group, that began last May, she's not sure anyone would want to financially back Laurentian.
It's been a year now. I would think they would be making an announcement, but who knows? Who knows? It was very hard to find any information on either the venture group or the company themselves.
But we did find this. It's a lawsuit filed in Houston, Texas by Lawrence Lester and Decagon Company Limited, suing 13 defendants after they say 5 rubies worth $1.8 billion disappeared. Among those named in the petition, Verdant Technology Solutions and manager Eric Jurgensen. You might remember him from another News Channel 5 investigation. That's when we told you about Eric Jurgensen's money troubles back in Utah, including one case where he was ordered to pay Zion's Bank more than $5 million after failing to repay a loan. The Texas lawsuit was dismissed. We spoke with Lester's lawyer, who said the parties are currently working on a settlement. But if Lester doesn't like the agreement, his lawyer says they plan to refile. According to the plaintiff's second amended verified petition in the Texas lawsuit, the rubies with names like Snowman, Juno, and Water Lily are the property of the Thai Buddhists. Decagon Group was given the jewels to help secure money for projects in the U.S. Here's where Jurgensen comes into the picture. In the petition, Lester claims he hired Verdant Technology Solutions, managed by Jurgensen, to provide a loan against the artifacts to help them secure funding. The petition goes on to say the rubies were appraised and then released to Jurgensen without Decagon's consent. Jurgensen is accused of flying those gems from New York to a Wells Fargo bank in the Houston area. The petition also says the plaintiffs have reason to believe an unnamed third-party lender, allegedly working with Verdant Technology Solutions, is a recognized group that deals with international criminal activity. Decagon decided to sue to get the rubies back.
I think that the whole town, the county, need to take a better look